asked a question today. I got asked, why is Nate Diaz so angry? I go, where does that come from? They go, oh man, you're not seeing Nate. Nate's on social media. Nate's lighting everybody up. I said, I still can't answer the question because I don't interpret any of that as Nate Diaz being angry. That's Nate Diaz being Nate Diaz. What did he do wrong? Nate's taking... Look, Nate wants to fight. Nate doesn't always want to fight. He always wants to train. He always wants to be ready. He always wants to practice. But there's certain things that get his interest. Nate has not showed an interest in a meaningful period of time about specifically being a champion. Nate has wanted to fight very specific guys. If one of them's a champion, then it looks like he's fighting for a championship. He's always going to be a main event. He's always going to have to do the heaviest lifting on the card. He's always going to have to go 25 minutes. So he's going to train for that. One's got nothing to do with another. Within Nate, as long as he's been doing this, he is now at a point where there's certain guys, and sometimes that's a personal grudge, which can come easy. Maybe they looked at him wrong in the back 5 years ago when he stored it away. Sometimes it's because he's impressed with them and wants to challenge. Largely, that's what that Masvidal fight was about. When Nate called out Masvidal, he said, man, I just saw him do a fight and he looked great. Okay, there's no heat on that, but I'm just sharing with you. You never know what it is that's going to motivate Nate, and you never know at what time it's going to do it. So when somebody comes out and says Nate's angry, I don't know about that, man. Nate's just real and he's authentic. And when he thinks something, he comes out and tells, I wish he did more of it. If you want to call it angry and I've got it wrong, I can live with that too. I just wish he would do more of it. I cannot remember a Nate Diaz interview that wasn't fun. I can't remember a social media message by Nate that wasn't interesting. He's one of these guys, but he doesn't need that big fame. He doesn't need his name in the lights and the marquee. He's perfectly fine at home, going to the gym, working with his community, doing what his coach asks of him, and going home. So it's one of these really interesting things, but it does appear that Nate would like to fight. I mean, I'm hearing this second and third hand. I've never heard Nate, personally, I've never heard or read where Nate has directly said, give me a rematch with Masvidal, but I'm hearing from people in the know that Nate is ready to go and Nate wants to get that Masvidal fight back. As we now know what's next for Kamara, what's next for Burns, we now do also know as a default button that the Masvidal Usman is off the table. So what do you do? What do you do with Masvidal? Where does he go? You got a lot of great options, no question about that. But if it is true that Nate wants to do that rematch, I mean, there's a story there, guys. Look, don't forget, Nate was very bothered. He thought he was coming on in rounds 4 and 5. Now, you can sit around and dispute whether that's revisionist history or not. You cannot dispute that Nate is sincere, and you cannot dispute that anybody would be in a better position to have an opinion of what the next 10 minutes of said contest was going to be than the guys in the contest. It looks like Masvidal is open to that idea too. I mean, where do we go? Do we put the BMF back up? Do we do it on Fight Island? Do we turn to MSG? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of questions there. I just think instead of worry about what's on the test, sometimes you just got to enjoy the class.
Just to clarify, I think you said something about how Conor could have had that replacement fight against Tony.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for asking me that question. The bullshit that I have read this week, I started scrolling through. Dana White rips Conor McGregor. Dana White, what? When did I fucking rip Conor McGregor? The media is so full of shit, and the fucking headlines are such fucking bullshit. It's unbelievable. You literally can't believe anything you read. Now, is there anybody in this room that didn't know when I announced, I said, if this could be a Tony fight, if somebody falls out, Conor's going to be the replacement? Who doesn't remember that? Right? That was the deal. The deal was I talked to Conor. Then Conor came back and said, I'm not a replacement fighter. I'm not going to do it. Long before the fight ever fell out. But Conor was saying before that fight fell out that it would fall out. He said one of these two are going to fall out, and then I'll slide in and take the fight. Then when the fight fell out, you know, the coronavirus was going on and all that shit. Everything started to shut down, and we were looking at the casino in California. Never did Conor turn down a last-minute fight. He told us way before that he was out of the fight, and we never even asked him again. So I do one interview where I'm explaining on the radio how this happened, and all these idiots start writing stories that I ripped him and then I said he wouldn't take the fight and everything else. It's all bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. And the only thing that was stupider than the fucking stories they wrote was the headlines that they put on it. It's fucking unbelievable. You literally cannot believe anything you read. And if you fucking went in and searched, the whole top thing was bullshit stories about Conor, me ripping Conor and me fucking saying that Conor turned down a fight.
Well, I think that was the confusion. He didn't turn down the fight in Jacksonville, right? You never asked him?
Exactly. So when Conor, I was telling you guys, Conor McGregor will be the replacement. And you guys were like, well, holy shit, the gate will already be sold. You know, the gate's $5.5, 6 million. Conor would have done maybe fucking, you know, I said, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? That it is what it is, but Conor's going to do it. And apparently, you know, Conor thought about it and said, fuck that. I'm not a replacement fighter. I'm not going to be looked at as I'm sliding in as a replacement for one of these guys. So he said, I'm not going to do it. I told you guys Conor was out. I said, Conor's not going to, you know, won't be the replacement now. And, yeah, so we never even asked Conor to fight. So I say this, I think it was on Jim Rome that I said it. I say this thing, and fucking like CBS Sports. This isn't like fucking, you know, Bloody Elbow or some shit. You know what I mean? CBS Sports fucking wrote it. Crazy, man. Just fucking unbelievable.
Well, would he even have been able to get into the country, even if he did want to fight in Jacksonville, because of the pandemic?
Could he get in the country?
Because of the pandemic? Like, if he had accepted a fight in Jacksonville, could he even have gotten in?
I don't know.
I think that was the other confusion.
Yeah, no, but that's true.
Get in.
You know, for a while there, we had that fight coming up in the UK. And when the president had shut things down, he kept it open for the UK, and then eventually that got shut off too. So I don't believe he could have. I'm not saying that we couldn't have got it done if we had to. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but probably not. That's why we're doing Fight Island.
Another thing that I see all the time that is just, it's mind-blowing, is people saying, okay, Triple G's pay-per-views made X amount and he made $60 million. And then Cowboy Cerrone's pay-per-view made X amount and he made $500,000. This is completely unfair. Triple G can go to a few promoters. It has nothing to do with how much an event made, right? A warehouse manager for Amazon doesn't get paid a lot because Amazon makes a lot of money. He can't say, look at what you guys made. I want to make this money. No, there are plenty of warehouse managers. We can get another guy to fill your spot. All right, I'll go look somewhere else. Fine. There are plenty of companies that will hire a warehouse manager. It doesn't work that way in combat sports. If you're a mixed martial artist, you don't have anywhere to go. A boxer has various promoters. The price is set by scarcity. So if I'm Triple G and I'm negotiating a ton of money with DAZN or PBC or whomever, and we're not going to pay you $80 million, the other guy will. This other promoter will pay me that. Top Rank will pay me that. Eddie Hearn will pay me that. Whomever. They can play these entities off one another. That's where the money comes from. It has nothing to do with, it has something to do with how much their pay-per-views make, but they're not proportional, as you guys have seen. What it is, if the pay-per-view makes $90 million and you got to pay Triple G $60 million, okay, whatever's left over is yours. All right? The margins are slimmer. UFC's margins we've seen are much, much bigger. Now, is that fair? It's not, but the point is that they can't go anywhere else. When people compare numbers to numbers and go, this boxer's pay-per-view didn't make as much as this mixed martial artist, why isn't this mixed martial artist getting paid more, is this mixed martial artist can't play other promotions off the UFC because there aren't any. So this idea that it's generated by how much money the pay-per-views make, to some degree, the UFC wants that money, but at the end of the day, they know that fighter can't go anywhere else and make anywhere near the money they're making in the UFC. They can't come back and go, this other promotional pay me more. A boxer can. There are just more promotions out there for boxing. So when people talk about how much Triple G and Canelo make and the pay-per-view numbers for pay-per-view over boxing, that's all nice, but that's not how they come up with their pay. They come up with their pay because if you don't pay me, I'm going somewhere else. And that's universal. Just, I mean, if you're watching this and you're an attorney and you don't think you're getting paid what you need to get paid, you'll go to another law firm and go, this other law firm will pay me more. That's how everything works in a free market economy. But once you have a stranglehold on the industry, These fighters can't go anywhere else.